Okay, I picked this up. This thing's awesome. Connected to that, turn the knob, fill it up. Basically, you're refilling these little ones. That saves so much money. This was definitely, I've seen some where you don't even have, there's a button here on the side that you press, it lets it air out. That seems to be a big plus. But packs away tight. You're not going to take that with you. You do it at home, do it outside. So that's awesome. That was worth buying. Then I picked up these. I picked up 3 of these bottles, and that's for me to put permethrin in, throw it in my pack, and before we go in, I can spray it on my dog's legs, her belly, and keep the ticks off her. That's what that's for. Then I picked up this thing, and it's going back. I had put butter in there, as you can see, and it's titanium. It holds about a half a stick of butter, but the problem is it's not screw-on, which that'll pop off in my pack. And this is made by Toaks too. This I'm sending back tomorrow. That was not worth buying. And then what I ended up buying is I bought these. These are actually pretty cool. Okay. And they all fit inside my cup here, except for one. And they fit perfectly. This one's lemon pepper. And all I did was write on the side magic marker. That's salt. That's pepper. That's garlic. The other one's onion. And of course, then we have butter. What I like about these is it screws on, so it's not going to pop off, which is nice, as you can see there. Okay. And it's got a rubber seal on it. So when you screw this down, there's no possible way this is going to end up all over my pack. And they're like 1.6, 1.7 ounces each. You know. So when you get one filled up, and they're all going to be different because this one's lemon pepper, 2.6 ounces, 2.7 ounces for the butter. This one's 3.5 for the salt. Did you know salt weighs a lot more? And then we got pepper, 2.3, as you can see. 2.6. So it looks like they're all running between 2.5 to 3. And this is garlic. So that's 2.6. But you'll see they're really cool. And being that they fit inside that pot, that is a super plus. See that? And they all fit in there really nice. So then we got the butter. And that's kind of tucked over here to the side. Got a lighter in there. Okay. That's for my tea. This came off my spoon. So tea goes in there. That slides in there. All perfect like. Fork will go in there. Spoon will go in there. And then why not? The lighter. That'll go in there. Of course, the pot grabber can kind of tuck in there. Put the lid in there. And everything's all together. Throw a couple of elastics around it, and everything is nice and tight. It's too bad they didn't make this with threads. It's too bad it was a lid that slid off and slid on. It's not something that is any good for backpacking. I didn't know that. I thought, it would have been screwed on. If it would have screwed on, I would have used this instead of the other one, because this took a little bit more butter. This was half a stick. The other one, a little bit less than half a stick. But it'll still work. But I ain't going to know until I get out there and test everything. I used to have the little ones. I used to have these little plastic ones. They were too small, is what they were. It did not give me enough spices, is what it did. So I had to step up the game. And I'm trying to get away from plastic because of everything about microplastics. Now, I don't mind this for permethrin because that's just spraying on me. But when it comes to spices or it comes to anything that's going into my body, no plastic. And that works out pretty good. And that's very important. Even when they say now you shouldn't use the non-stick frying pans, threw them all in the garbage, switched over to stainless steel. I try to eat healthy in the first place. So this was kind of an upgrade to eating healthier and not having all plastic. And get away. It's funny, the plastic water bottles. Now, the plastic water bottles, as you see here, it's all scratched up. And the inside scratched up. And this have an order to it. And these have all been cleaned. I have a few of these. I mean, probably spent $100, $200 on these until I knew the plastics were no good. And even though they say BPA free, it even says made in USA, they're apparently no good. So I've had these too, and these are hard to find now. But I have two stainless steel that I'll be carrying on my side. I'm going to have to throw these in the garbage. I'll throw them on the shelf for now, but hard to part with something when you pay money for it. But these need to go in the garbage. And as I buy more stainless steel, then I'll get rid of these. But that's just the way it is. Cutting boards too. I mean, a lot of people go buy wooden cutting boards now instead of plastic cutting boards because of microplastics. And you can't just buy the first cutting board you see if it's made out of wood. Literally, you got to be so particular because the cutting boards have small pieces that they glue together. And the glue they're using is a form of formaldehyde. I can't even say the word. Anyways, it's not good for you. So the glue they're using that makes them are complete garbage. The best cutting board to use would be if you're out backpacking or whatever, or going for a walk, is to have your silky saw on you. And when you find a nice big log, cut a piece off to bring home, and then maybe add some olive oil to it. But sand it down. That would be the best and safest one to use. But with cutting boards, you got to be really, really careful. Sometimes you think, oh, that's a wooden cutting board. That's healthy. Let's go with that. Not so much. You got to be really, really careful on what you're putting in your body. I seen a video where inside the guy's jugular vein, they showed a whole bunch of microplastics is what they had. They had a whole bunch of microplastics inside the vein that they were cleaning out. And it was unbelievable when I was watching that surgery. And apparently he was lucky they caught it, because had that let go, it would have killed him. And I was like, man, oh man. The corporations, the companies, it's like, if it ain't one thing, it's another. Everybody's trying to kill us. And it's making me wonder if our so-called FDA and all these other groups are actually protecting us. Because we take it for granted that we have these groups out there that are supposed to be protecting us, and they're not. So it becomes our responsibility to really do a double check on what's going into our bodies. I see more and more people in the grocery store standing there reading the back of the packages now. I never used to see that. I see 8 or 10 people down an aisle. There might be one that doesn't. The majority are reading their packages to see what's in them. So, in general, people are starting to eat healthy, and this is good because that's going to send a message to the corporations where they're not making as much money on a certain product. Like you look at, for example, when you buy peanut butter. Believe it or not, you look at it, you'll see 20 ingredients inside the peanut butter. Don't buy it. There's usually 1 or 2 on the shelf that are strictly peanuts, nothing else. 1 or 2 ingredients, and they're not any more money than the other ones. And it takes less than 2 seconds to read what's on them. Now, sometimes when you buy certain and you try to buy the better stuff, it is more expensive, but not everything. So if you're super duper poor and you're saying, "Oh yeah, I can't afford that peanut butter stuff because I got to buy the cheap stuff," well, it's not true. There is peanut butter on the shelf with two ingredients, peanuts and oil. So you just have to be aware of that when you come across something super expensive like avocado oil and stuff like that. Well, maybe you can't afford that. But anything you do to better your life and be healthier is a good thing. And that's all there is to it. And that's very important. So I've gotten away from all plastic. It's gone to stainless steel or whatever. Even in my hiking backpack is when I'm eating, and that's very important. So I have some links to this stuff in the bottom. Like I said, this is going back, or I may keep it, throw another shelf. I don't know. Use it for something else someday if I think of something. This was cheap. It was only $12, but I wish it screwed in. Picked it up because it was titanium. But slowly adding little things to the backpack to make life a little healthier. Catch you guys on the next one.